Good afternoon. My name is David Mouton, and today I'll be informing and educating you on the bodily impacts of stress by first defining stress, secondly, acknowledging the corporal impacts of it, and thirdly, offering mitigation strategies in order to reduce stress. So, what is stress? Have you ever felt anxiety before a test or been so overwhelmed you started heavily breathing? These are two of the numerous symptoms of stress. Stress can be simply defined as a response to any source of demand or pressure. As stated in a study performed by the American Psychological Association, it states that 64% of individuals indicate that money is the cause of their stress. Simply, stress can be divided into three segments, which is positive, tolerable, and toxic stress. Positive stress is the response to a stressful situation that results in a good or positive outcome. This can be indicated as safe levels of stress that can be manageable and allowed to complete necessary tasks in one's life. This can be exemplified through planning for a vacation, winning a competition, or preparing for a test. Nextly, there's tolerable stress. This is a more severe and overwhelming source of stress where relationships and coping mechanisms are used to make the situation more contained and more manageable for the individual. This can be exemplified through a frightening injury or death, combined with parental guidance or social support in order to allow the situation to be tolerable. Lastly, there is toxic stress. This is the unhealthy sort of stress or anxiety that results from prolonged adversity, leading to stress buildup, and this allows the individual to become excessively overwhelmed. According to the American Institute of Stress, it states that 1 in 5 Americans experience extreme stress. This just means that they react more impulsively to stressors compared to an ordinary individual. While stress is comprised of 3 components, it also impairs corporal functions in one's body. Stress at high amounts overall can negatively impact the body. More specifically, it can impair the endocrine system. This bodily system secretes hormones in the body in order to maintain homeostasis or balance. In terms of stress, it increases the secretion of cortisol and adrenaline. Cortisol is an adrenal hormone that aids in the metabolizing of food. Although this substance regulates bodily functions, it proves to be harmful at high amounts, in which leads to a decreased immunity or increasing blood pressure, as well as damaging short-term memory. In terms of adrenaline, this, like cortisol, is an adrenal hormone that helps in organic metabolism. Specifically, this substance triggers fight or flight. This is a behavioral response to a stressful situation that gives the body alertness in order for them to either flee or fight danger. At high amounts, this can lead to increased heart palpitations or heavy breathing. Secondly, stress can impair the muscular system. Trauma directly allows the muscles to clench, leading to pain in back, shoulders, or arms. Increased trauma, the more trauma one experiences, the more time or duration the muscles will clench, leading to chronic disorders such as anxiety or back pain. Thirdly, with the respiratory system, this can be impaired through stress or trauma. Anxiety directly demands more oxygen to the body, allowing the breathing to become more heavy or rapid. With respiratory dysfunctions, such as asthma, combined with stress, it leads with more intense symptoms. With these extreme symptoms, they can be exemplified through panic attacks or asthma attacks. Lastly, stress negatively impacts the circulatory system. Just stress alone increases the heart rate and blood pressure of one's body by dilating the blood vessels. With chronic or extreme stress, more long-term heart problems are resulted, such as hypertension, heart attack, or stroke. Overall, stress impairs the body, but they can all be mitigated through adhering to different practices in one's life. Among the numerous mitigation strategies, one of the most effective is yoga. This practice improves flexibility while re-energizing the body through performing demanding poses. Also, within this practice, it epitomizes breathing techniques in order to alleviate respiratory impairments that are resulted from stress. This relaxing aspect of yoga counteracts the trauma or anxiety from stress. Secondly, exercise is a practice that can be used to mitigate stress. This activity releases endorphins into the body, in which are substances that are natural painkillers and can be used to elevate happiness. This allows the body to energize itself and lessen the discomfort that comes from stress. In fact, 31% of individuals in a study performed by the American Psychological Association indicate that exercise aided them in relieving stress. Thirdly, increasing sleep is something that everyone should consider in order to decrease stress impacts. In society, the minimum recommendation of sleep is 7 hours, but little Americans meet this requirement. Decreased sleep amplifies the symptoms of stress, and this can be proven through a study performed by the organization expressed earlier, in which 45% of individuals with sleep deprivation experience increased levels of irritability, which is a symptom of stress, compared to only 32% of individuals who had adequate levels of sleep. Essentially, reducing stress is individualized. Any hobby, source of enjoyment, or passion can be used to counteract stress because it allows them the free time to implement activities that counteract the damaging effects of trauma. So it's important for you to find out your passion and implement it into your daily routine in order to stop stress and chronic or extreme trauma. In conclusion, stress is a response to any source of demand or pressure in one's body. This mental block at high amounts can impair the functionality of one's corporal functions, and to counteract this trauma, people should consider yoga, increasing exercise, or increasing sleep in order to mitigate stress. Stress is a detriment that impacts everyone, and everyone experiences at least once in their life. Because of the impact it places on one's body, people must take action to counteract the fatal aspect of chronic stress. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Have you ever had a stressful moment, and how did you get away from it?
Well, yes, I have had many stressful moments in my academic career as a high school student. And the way I deal with it is I exercise, so as what I expressed earlier, I'm like a living example of it because exercise is my source of getting away from the pressures from school and allowing myself to counteract the negative impacts. So as what other people have different styles of coping, such as journaling or any other passion, mine is exercise.
Do you feel as if this speech, like having to present and come up, like just presenting an outline and everything, did this stress you out?
Well, combined with all the other responsibilities I had, yes, but I feel like it wasn't a toxic stress as what I expressed earlier. It was more of the positive, so I got to get it done, and I had the energy needed to complete it.
What are I know you named a few, what are more illnesses that come from toxic stress?
Well, people have reported increased levels of depression. Also, as I said, heart palpitations or any heart disease. So that's a really detrimental quality because heart disease is the most common disease. So stress is a very big impact and plays a very big impact in that.
How is stress amongst high schoolers and college students? Like, are they like high stress levels, low stress levels, or does it just depend?
Yeah, I think it just depends on the individual because stress is, when someone experiences stress, it's mostly when it's outside of their comfort zone, and everyone has different comfort zones. So, as people who go to an early college, they are used to more demanding academics as opposed to a regular high school. So, what we may consider easy may be considered hard for someone else. So, stress is individualized in that sense. Any more questions? Thank you very much for coming for my presentation.